All right, so today we are looking at solving equations. We are going to look at solving multi-step equations. We're going to look at literal equations. And eventually we're going to change to absolute values and inequalities in 1, 4, 5, and 6. So as part of the warm-up, let's simplify each of the following expressions. You have 5x minus 9x plus 3, so we combine like terms. And you get negative 4x plus 3. In number 2, 7x has no like terms. We group y with y to get 3y. And negative 1 has no like terms. In number 3, you'll group your h's together, so 10h and negative 8h gives 2h. Grouping your g's, 12 minus 4 is positive 8g. And number 4, you can add fractions together if they have common denominators. So there is only one x, so you have x thirds. And then you have y thirds plus 2/3 y. Well, 1/3 plus 2/3 is 1. So you get plus 1y minus 1y. So they cancel, and you get x thirds. Then number 5, before we can combine like terms, you have to distribute your negative. So you have x plus y minus x plus y, because a negative times a negative gives a positive. X minus x cancel. Y plus y gives 2y. Similarly, in number 6, you are going to distribute your negatives. So you have a negative going to 3 and c, as well as c and negative 1. So we get negative 3 plus c minus 4c plus 4. Combining like terms, you get 1 minus 3c. All right, so we have some new vocabulary. The first word we're going to look at is open sentence. An open sentence is a mathematical sentence containing one or more variables or expressions. An equation has two mathematical expressions that are equal and has an equal sign. And that's the big difference between an open sentence and an equation. An equation has an equal sign, and that's what's new about today. So for today, we are looking at problems with equal signs, where in the past couple lessons, we have not had equal signs. We are also now going to find solutions. Solutions are something that make an equation true. Do you still need that? Sorry. Okay. We have some properties that go along with this. So the first property is the reflective property. And that's kind of like looking in a mirror. So you can think of your reflection. So the reflexive property says that if you have A, then it is always equal to A. So that's like saying 2 equals 2, 5 equals 5. The symmetric property is kind of like the commutative property. It says if A equals B, then that's the same as saying B equals A. The transitive property is just that. You're translating from one to the other. So if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then it is also fair to say that A is equal to C. So you're kind of eliminating that middleman of B right here. The addition property says that if I start with A equal to B, that I can add C to both sides and it doesn't change the balance. Similarly, I can do that with subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. If I do it on the left, then I have to do it on the right. And if I do it on both sides, then I keep the scale balanced. So that is called addition, subtraction, multiplication properties. And then we have the substitution property. Basically, substitution says if A is equal to B, then B can replace A in the expression. And that's what we did a couple of days ago when you were told X equals 3. And then instead of having the problem like X squared plus 2Y equals 7, you plugged in a 3 for your X squared. Okay, so this unit is about solving. But when we're solving, we're actually talking about all of those properties. So number 1, you have 7x plus 3 equals 2x minus 12. So you use the subtraction property to say that I subtract 3 from both sides. By subtracting 3 from both sides, I haven't changed the problem, just moved it. So you get 7x equals 2x minus 15. Now we're going to do that with the 2x. Divide both sides by 5. And I get x equals negative 3. Same in number 2. Now again, we can add and subtract from both sides at the same time. So what I could do is subtract 12 from both sides and subtract 5z from both sides. So it cancels the 5z on the right, it cancels the 12s on the left. 8 minus 5 is 3z. Negative 21 and negative 12 gives negative 33. Divide both sides by 3. And I get z equals negative 11. You can move your variable in either the direction as well as the numbers. So in the past two problems, I moved the variable to the left and the numbers to the right. We could switch that up. I could move the variable to the right and the numbers to the left. So you get negative 12 equals negative 6t. Divide both sides by negative 6. And we get 2 equals t. But again, we know by the symmetric property, that's the same as saying t equals 2. So again, it doesn't matter what direction you move your variable. You just want to move all to one side and all to the other. In number 4, the first thing we want to do is distribute. So I'm going to distribute the 4 and negative 3 in. So I get 4m plus 36 equals negative 3m plus 12 because it's a negative times a negative. So if I add 3, I get 7m. If I subtract 36, I get negative 24. And a negative 24/7 for my answer. In number 5, we're going to distribute the 2. And then when we do that, we see the 6's cancel. Divide both sides by 2. And you get y equals 35. In number 6, let's say you didn't want to distribute first in number 6. You could technically divide both sides by 2. And again, I'm just showing you math. If you distribute it, that's totally fine. Your 2's would cancel, and then 6 divided by 2 would become 3. You'd still have to distribute the 3 on the left. Then you get t equals 3. Now again, if you had done it different and you started by distributing and then grouping and combining like terms, you will still get to the same answer. That's because of the way the order of operations work. We're essentially doing them in a mixed reversed order so that we can solve. So there are also equations that we solve. These are called literal equations. Literal equations are equations you solve that do not give you a numerical answer. They give you an answer which is a variable set equal to other variables. So in 7, our goal is to solve for base 1. So that means we're trying to get B1 by itself. So what I'm going to do is multiply by the reciprocal of 1/2, which is 2. I don't want to distribute the h because then it'll be multiplied by B1. So instead, I want to divide both sides by h. And then I want to get B2 to the other side. So we'll subtract it. So base 1 of the trapezoid is equal to twice the area divided by the height minus base 2. So number 8, we have the formula for surface area, and we want to solve it for W. So once again, I'm going to divide by 2. I'm going to get rid of that multiplication out in front. I need to keep the W's together. So I'm going to subtract away the middle term. And then here's where it gets a little bit tricky. Both of these terms contain a W. When I'm adding stuff together or subtracting it, and they have a like term, I can use the distributive property in reverse to take out the GCF. So W is kind of like a GCF for this problem, which leaves behind L plus H. So everybody see how W acts as a GCF in that problem? And then we're just going to divide both sides by L plus H. And we get W equals 1/2 A minus LH all over L plus H. Okay, and then the last thing we're going to look at is we're going back to the properties on the previous page. And it says name the property being illustrated in the sentence. If 3A minus 4 equals B, and B equals A plus 17, Then 3a minus 4 equals a plus 17. So this is kind of like saying if a equals b and b equals c, then a equals c. And that is the transitive property. If 2g minus h equals 62 and h equals 24, then 2g minus 24 equals 62. So we took the h equals and we replaced it here. So that's the substitution. And in 11, if negative 11a plus 2 equals negative 3a, then negative 3a equals negative 11a plus 2. So it's the same left to right as it is right to left. So it's symmetric. Oh, I didn't type it. All right, so your homework is that very next page in your packets or in your textbook. It's page 22, 30 to 40, and 45 to 50. There is also on Fusion a link. There is, since this is a lot of vocab and I gave you a shorter homework assignment, there is a vocab review that's on quizzes. The link is on Fusion. So you have a quizzes link and then this assignment.